Okay. So again, because things are a little bit funny today, an unexpected platform, we're going to just roll with this. It's not ideal, but you can see the beautiful field in the background as I chat with you guys today. So I want to talk about making money on your gap year because I think it's a really important skill that we need to have, because a lot of people, and I would say like 90% of people, will spend the vast majority of their time on their gap year working to earn money. So this doesn't take away your gap year status. You don't have to be traveling. You don't have to be doing other things. Working to earn money is still a gap year. A gap year is taking a pause from some other activity. So that's really what it is. And this is fundamental, and this is part of life. Money is just part of the way things go. So I'd love if you could share in the chat your answer to this question. So why do you want to work on your gap year? And I think I have some pretty good ideas about why you may want to work on your gap year, but I want to hear from you. What is the purpose of working on your gap year? Because I want to make sure that you really start with a good foundation in understanding the purpose of work. And the purpose of work for you is going to be different than the purpose of work for somebody else. Because when we're stepping into our gap year, we're all coming with very different backgrounds, very different baggage, very different opportunities before us, very different stories that are part of our past and the story that we're writing for our future. Everything is going to be very different. So everybody's rationale is going to be vastly different, and that is totally okay. So I wanted to share a couple of the common reasons that folks do take a gap year. So anybody who has worked with me in any capacity knows how adamantly I talk about goals and the importance of goals and how they should always, always, always come first. So if you've heard this lecture before, I apologize, or this is a really great reminder for you. And we need to know that why. We need to know why we want to be, working, and that will frame the type of choices we make and the goals we set for ourselves. So I'm seeing lots of, or some answers in the chat here: to save money, to the feeling of financial freedom. Yes, that's a big one. Because your gap year is often one of those rites of passage that move you from being an adolescent into being a grown-up, or being an adult, or being somebody who maybe is more independent from their family. So for sure. And then security, we need money. That's a fact. So thanks, Anandi, for sharing that. And Abby, financially sustainable. Yeah. So gap years come in all budgets. Some people have access to a lot of money and are able to just take that money and spend. Other people want to come out financially neutral. So they want to work for the first half in order to spend it on a larger experience later on. Or other people want to work for the whole year to actually come out in the black and earn money instead of spending money on their gap year. So I think that's great, Abby, to know that you want to be able to come out neutral or ahead financially. I think that's great. And again, Anastasia talking about independence, for sure. I love, love, love all of those reasons. And I want you to keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this, this little activity, this little session that we're going to have together here. So thank you so much for sharing. It makes it feel less lonely on this side of the screen, and I love to hear what you're up to. So the obvious answer is you want to work on your gap year to make money. That's why we have jobs mostly, so that we can pay our bills, so that we have access to money, which is a currency. And we'll talk in a second about being comfortable with money, because that's also something that we have to do in that transition into adulthood. But making money is just one of the facts of life. It comes, it goes, but we need to make money. But there are other things that you can layer into that, or there are other reasons why you might want to work. So maybe you want to build your resume. So you're thinking a little bit more long term. You want to have something on there that's going to launch your career, or even that last point there, testing out different careers. So maybe you want to get out there and see a wide variety of jobs that are out there. Like, who the heck knows what an engineer does? I sure don't, and my brother's one. So actually getting out there and seeing what all of these different careers look like on the ground. You might want to build a network of people that are going to be able to support you later on in your career, or just gain experience. So like you guys were talking about in terms of earning money and gaining stability and gaining clearer ideas of direction for your career, all of these things can be part of your reason why. So keep that in the back of your mind when you're thinking about working on your gap year. Now, let's talk about some of the ways that we can make money. So you want to, on your gap year, if your focus is on earning the maximum amount of dollars, whether that's because you want to sail around the world on a tall ship and that program is really pricey, or you want to lower the amount of student debt you're going to take on, or you have a particular item that you want, maybe you want to buy a really good computer for going away to school, whatever that reason is, you may want to maximize the amount of cash that you are bringing in on your gap year if that's your priority. Now, there's multiple ways that you can maximize the amount of money that you're making. So you can do the maximum number of hours. So you may sign up for multiple part-time jobs, or you might look for a full-time job that's going to give you 40 hours a week. There are so many different ways that you can maximize your hours. Alternatively, instead of using up all of your time, you can try and maximize your wages. So actually looking for an hourly rate that's more than minimum wage in whatever your province is, because $14 an hour is not a ton of cash. So if you want to maximize that, you can look for jobs that pay a little bit more than a minimum wage. So typically when young people are looking at work, they think typically of hospitality. So working as a server, or working as a hostess, or retail, working in the grocery stores, or working in a store as a sales clerk. There's lots of places that do pay minimum wage, and they are a great way to make money. They're relatively easy to get jobs, but you're not going to be making much more than minimum wage. So if you do want to maximize that, you can look at looking in different areas that actually pay really, really well. So I know a lot of young people who look specifically for work in factories. The work is grueling, it's repetitive, it can be tough physically, but they pay really, really well. So if you're going to be doing this as a short time, 1 year opportunity, it's a way to make a lot of cash really quickly, which is great. Or working in the trades as an assistant. Again, the wages are paid much higher than working in a grocery store. But it all comes down to, if this is your focus, if this is your goal, then this is something that you need to think about. But how are you going to find these jobs? You have to do the research. You have to do the work. Each and every one of you is coming from a different community that has different jobs available to them. So you've got to do the research and you've got to do the work to find the opportunities that best match your goals. So you've got to put in the work to actually do that. Even if we were to jump on a one-on-one call, I wouldn't be able to tell you, hey, Abby, this is the exact right job for you. But doing some seasonal work, maybe working at a farm during harvest season, might be a really great way to get some extra cash. Who knows? Lots of different things. Something that I am really, really passionate about, though, is not sacrificing fun for money. I have been advising people on their gap years for over a decade now, and I have talked to exactly one person who said their gap year was a waste of time. And that one person spent their entire gap year working. They didn't do anything fun outside of working. They just kind of got their job pushing the shopping carts. They did it 9 to 5. They came home, they jumped on Netflix, and that was it. And they're the only person I've ever talked to. They came out financially really, really well, but they didn't feel like they had spent their time very well. So I want you to think about this and keep this in the back of your mind. And when we're talking about that relationship with money and that relationship with work, think about it like this. Money is a renewable resource. Time is not. So I don't want you to be working 80 hours a week, burning yourself out and not having any fun. You have one gap year, or more. You could do more. That's fine too. But let's just say theoretically you've got one gap year. You've got one time before you head into post-secondary to make the memories, to gain the skills, to have the experiences. And your job might not be the be all and end all of that. So I don't want you looking back with regret that you spent all of this time working and didn't live out your gap year. So let me know in the chat if that resonates with you, because it's about finding balance. What is that balance between meeting your financial goals, feeling that sense of financial freedom that you were talking about, and also balancing that with being young and having fun and making the most of your gap time beyond just what's going to be in your bank account at the end of the day. So let me know in the chat if that resonates with you, because I think it's a really, really important part that I don't want you to miss. Yeah, let me know in the chat. But what you need to do in order to be able to have that healthy mind frame is you really need to develop a realistic savings and spending plan. And what that looks like for you is going to be vastly different from everyone else in this workshop, vastly different than what my savings and spending plan looks like. So I want you to keep that in mind. So let's just do a little bit of budgeting here as we go through it, and promise we're going to get back to other stuff, but I wanted to touch on the budgeting piece. So how do you actually know what you are working towards? How do you know what you actually need to do in order to make the money you need? And the way that we need to do that is we need to work backwards. So you actually need to start knowing out at the end of my gap year. So let's say your gap year is going to end September 1st, 2023. Let's just say that's your end date. If that is your end date, how much money do you need in your bank account on that day? What does that look like? So how much do you need to pay for school, to whatever it is? That's the first number you need to think about. I need to be going into first year school with X number of dollars in my bank account. Then you need to add on to that, how much do you think you're going to spend on your gap year? And spend on your gap year on just like general maintenance. So like going out for dinner with your friends, your cell phone bill, gas for the car, insurance, any of those expenses that you have on a month-to-month basis. You got to factor that into that number because it's going to come out of your paycheck as well. And any of those larger recreation things. Are you going to take a course? Are you going to go on a trip? And once you have those two numbers, that is your entire earnings. That's what you're working towards. And be comfortable with large numbers. It's okay if that number is $50,000. It's okay if that number is $20,000. Often when we are in high school, those numbers are just like mind blowing. Like I've never spent more than $300 on anything in my life. You're talking in like the tens of thousands of dollars. Be comfortable with those numbers. Those numbers are okay. They're healthy. They're real numbers. So just know that that's there. And then once you have those two numbers, how much you want to save and how much you think you're going to spend on your gap year, then you need to figure out how much you are going to be how much you need to earn per hour, how many hours you need to earn. And let me know in the chat if math is a strong suit or a weakness for you. So is math easy? You can say yes or no. And that will help me know how much of the next little bit that I should be sharing with you. Because we're going to be doing a little weeny teeny bit of math here, and I don't want to overwhelm you with that. So here we go. So here's an example. Let's say you want to, at the end of your gap year, have $15,000 saved for post-secondary, and you estimate that you're going to be spending about $5,000 over the course of the gap year. So we're working with a total of $20,000. That's how much we need to earn over the course of your gap year. So let's just work with that as a nice round number. So we're gonna start with that $20,000. Now there are the formulas here that can help you figure that out. So your earnings is going to be, so like that $20,000 is going to be equal to your wage, how much you're earning per hour times the number of hours you're going to be earning it. But we can move that equation around a little bit, and I've done it for you. So if math is not your thing, I've already moved the equation around. So if you want to do it another way, wage minus deductions is actually just your take-home pay after taxes, after CPP, all of those things that come off your paycheck. So if you are making $14 an hour, you are not getting $14 an hour in your bank account because the government is going to take their share of that. So it may actually only be $11 an hour. So that's the number that you would plunk in there because that's your take-home pay. That's what you're actually doing. So you can use these formulas. You can copy them down. You can use them. I've actually popped them into an Excel spreadsheet because I am a super nerd. And I love this kind of stuff. So I was just actually playing around before we came here. So now I'm just going to figure out how to get it on the other screen. Hold on a second here. Hold on. Where's my mouse? I am new to the 2-screen thing. This is foreign to me. So give me a second here. I just don't remember which way. There we go. Got it. So like I said, I'm a huge nerd. I love Excel. And so what I did is I actually just plunked in some formulas. So if I wanted to earn $20,000, let me make this bigger for you so that can maybe help you. Here we go. So if I wanted to earn $20,000 and I thought I was going to work for 40 hours a week, every week for 52 weeks a year, I would need to make at least $9.62 in take-home pay. But let's say I was going to do $20,000 is what I wanted to bring home, but I thought maybe I could only work 20 hours a week. Then I need to be taking home $19 an hour. Which is significantly more. So I think this is just a good thing for us to go through to think about that. The other ways that I've done it is if you want to actually know what, let's say you could actually at a factory make $30 an hour and you needed $20,000. Oh, that formula set up wrong. Never mind. Ignore that one. But if you were going to make $30 an hour, you could actually really, really, really make a huge dent in that. So if you were going to be working, let's say you had shift work of 30 hours a week and you were making $30 an hour, you could actually make 46, almost 47 grand. So play around with those numbers because I think it's important that we have that just in our back pocket. And there's all the formulas. If you want a copy of the Excel spreadsheet, send me an email, michelle@cangap.ca. I'll pop that in here, michelle@cangap.ca, and I can send that to you. Okay, enough math. Moving on, right? Enough math. Everybody says enough math, except for me. I love math. If you are focused on building a resume on your gap year, there's lots of things to think about. When you're building your resume, you don't necessarily, if you want to be, I just used engineer before, so I'll continue along with that analogy. If you want to be an engineer, you don't need a job in an engineering firm specifically, because you can also build your resume by looking at task-oriented similarities, skill-oriented similarities, or industry-specific stuff. So think about that a little bit. If you wanted to get into, let's say you wanted to get into being a law clerk. If you wanted to be in law, you don't necessarily have to work in a lawyer's office, but working as a receptionist, working at managing papers, managing files, managing contact information. Those are all task-based things, while the skill-oriented stuff could be maybe joining a debate club or a debate team, or those pieces there. You can see how you're going to be developing and building those skills along the way. So thinking about if you are looking to develop your resume, maybe there are other ways or other types of jobs you should be looking for on your gap year. But how do you find those types of jobs? Because it's really difficult as a high school graduate to find a job or find an internship in a field that really interests you. So you really got to back it up, and you've got to start as close to you as possible, because nothing works better than a warm lead. Having somebody make an introduction on your behalf is the best thing, or somebody you already know. So if you wanted to get into to become a beautician of some kind, if you know somebody, work that relationship. Reach out to the people in your immediate network that you know. Reach out to your hairdresser. Reach out to your nail technician. Ask them if they have any openings or any opportunities for you to work. So start as close to you as you possibly can. Then you got to branch out. Say, okay, I don't know anybody, but maybe my parents know somebody. So you're going to go one step out. Who is in your parents' network? Who is in your brother or sister's network? Who is in your aunts or uncles' networks? Because you really want to do that. Because if your mom or dad was to say, hey, my kid is looking for a job, would you have anything going on that they could possibly apply to? They are much more likely to say yes, because there is some sort of relationship. Somebody can vouch for you. You are not just another resume coming across their desk. So I think that's really good, starting with yourself, then your parents and your immediate family, and then thinking about the other networks that you're a part of. Are you part of a dance school? Are you part of a theater company? Are you part of a faith group? Are you part of a sporting community? Whatever those communities are, reach out to them. Part of finding a job is letting people know that you're looking for something and what you were looking for. And the more that you can talk about it, the more likely you are to find a really, really good match for what you are up to. Anybody that I have hired has come through letting me know that they are available and interested. I get cold emails all the time saying, hey, what you're doing is really cool. I would love to get involved. Here's all my experience. Let's have a chat. So reaching out to people is so important, and letting people know that you're looking. Posting on your Instagram, hey guys, I'm looking for a summer gig in chat with children. Is anybody in the Burlington area hiring or know of any jobs working with kids? It's important to be as specific as possible, because if I just put on my Instagram, hey, looking for a job, hit me up, nobody's going to help me, because they don't know what I'm looking for. They don't know that they have anything to help me. So the more specific you can get, I'm looking for a job with kids in the Burlington area, and I'm available 24/7, or I'm only available on weekends. Putting that in there will then spark people who are reading your feed being like, oh, hey, yeah, I do know somebody. So-and-so is looking for a babysitter, or so-and-so is looking to hire for their camp. So putting that out there. Also make use of cold calls and emails. Just do them. Like I said, I get emails on the weekly from people looking for jobs. And just get out there and put it out there. Make the emails, look for contact information on websites, find somebody on LinkedIn, and get really good at sending those emails. And I think I have another slide on this in a second, so I'm not going to jump too far ahead, but do it. The worst that they can say is no. Best case scenario, you can hook yourself up with a very, very sweet job or internship or volunteer opportunity. So take the risk, get out there, and introduce yourself to people. It's not going to damage you at all. It's going to take your time. You're going to develop skills in communication, in perseverance, in building virtual relationships. All of these things are helpful to you, even if you don't end up with a job. Yes, I do have slides on this. So the next thing I want to talk about is building a network. If you're still with me in the chat, just put in an exclamation mark so I know I haven't bored you to death, that I didn't scare you off with the math a little while ago. But talking about building a network as part of your gap year. Connect, connect, connect. And this is what I was talking about before with those cold leads. Don't just outright email them and say, hey, I'm on my gap year. Can I have a job? Because that doesn't go over very well. You need to start by appealing to what they're into, being like, wow, I've been following you on LinkedIn. I think what you're doing is really cool. Here is my experience. Thanks, guys, in the chat. Here is my experience. And I would love to set up a quick chat to learn a little bit more about what you do. And setting up an informational interview. And that's what that is. When people do that to me, 100% of the time I say yes. Because number one, they flattered me. They said, hey, you're doing something cool. I think you're interesting. I think you're worth talking to. And I go, oh, gee, of course I am. So yes, I will set up. Oh, look, it's a young person who is starting their career, who wants a little bit of advice, and they think that I have some expertise or experience that's valuable to them. Great. I would love to help them out. So flattery goes a long, long way to open the door to conversation. And to learn a little bit more about other people's pathways can help you on your journey and helps you develop a relationship with potential mentors, potential people who are hiring you. And you can get really, really good at creating those relationships. And then once you've had those conversations and they realize how awesome you are, then step in and go for the, hey, do you have any opportunities that are coming up in the next year that I might be suited for? I've really found this this information really interesting, and I would love to support the work that you're working on. Again, using that flattery. I think you're cool. I think the stuff you're doing is cool. I would love to support and help and lend a hand. Here are some ways I think I might be able to help you. All of those pieces can help you land some pretty sweet, some sweet jobs. But that being said, 9 out of 10 times, maybe 90 out of 100 times, they'll say no. So don't let rejection get you down. You've got to keep going. You got to keep plugging through and just make your way through that, those rejections to a place where you can hopefully get some very positive pieces to that. Here, I'm going to throw in a little bonus tip for you, or I guess a big bonus tip. Keep a logbook or a journal of all of the experiences that you have. So whether that is different jobs on your gap year, different people that you've chatted with, different careers that you've explored, keep a log or a journal of that, because what you will notice as you get through some of these things, you're actually going to start to notice trends. And these trends are going to help you in picking a future career. They're going to help you in picking future employers or future colleagues that you would like to work with. And by noticing the things that really light you up and excite you and the things that bring you down, you're going to start to see some patterns and say, hey, you know what? Anything that was a desk job, I hated. I need to be more interactive. Or anytime I was working with people, I was so tired at the end of the day. I am more of an introvert. I need just me and my computer. Once you start to see those things and see those patterns, then that's going to really help guide you in your future. So working in multiple jobs on your gap year is a great way to get some clarity in that area. Now, let's talk about leveling up working on your gap year. Because a lot of people, when they think about gap year and working on their gap year, they think right away about, okay, I'm going to get a job at my grocery store or at the local Tim Hortons, and I'm going to do that for my gap year, and I'm going to earn lots of money. That is great. That is a great way to make money. It's a very, very common thing to do. But for goodness sakes, you're on your gap year. Let's level it up. Let's do something a little bit different. Maybe you want to do that same job, but do it while living in another city. So things that I'm thinking of, let's say your grandma lives in Ottawa, or your uncle or your cousin or your best friend or somebody lives in Ottawa. Move move up to Ottawa and get that grocery job up in Ottawa, because you're going to develop different skills. You're going to be working on that independence, not only that financial independence, but also the skills of living on your own or living with a roommate. So you can move somewhere else in the country and still keep the majority of your savings, because you don't have to worry about the visas. You don't have to worry too much about accommodation if you're living with somebody else that you know. Lots of really great opportunities to do that, whether that is getting the same job you would get at home, just in a different city, or you wanted to do something fun like go and work in the ski resorts out west with a whole bunch of other people on gap years from around the world. Or you wanted to go and teach English in a French-speaking community at like a language school as part of the Odyssey program. All of these things are opportunities right within Canada that would allow you to earn money, but also see a different place, live a different way, and develop skills outside of whatever you're doing in your job. You can also follow seasonal work around the country. I talked about working out in Banff. There's an organization called Mobilize Jobs. Let me just get back to the other screen again. Oh, I got to go this way. No, I got to go this way. I'll pop it in the chat. So Mobilize Jobs, what they actually do is they put you in about 3-month placements. They put you in 3-month placements as the seasons change, and as seasonal work moves around the country, you can actually work in multiple locations in Canada and get paid for it. So if you are not looking for the same thing all the time, this might be a good opportunity to do it either with Mobilize Jobs or do it on your own, and just start doing the winter months out in the ski resorts, and then doing the summer months in the hiking or mountain biking or cottaging areas. So you can follow the seasons and get lots of really, really great experience and get paid decently well for it. The other option is to work abroad. So you could do a lot of these same things, but go and do them in England. So I'm going to pop into the chat how to get a visa for working abroad. So if you did want to work somewhere else, you do require getting a visa. The best visa to get for somebody on a gap year is the working holiday visa, which is the link that I've put in the chat for you there with ircc.canada.ca. So this visa allows you to get the visa before you go. You don't need a job. You can actually just go to the country and get a job while you're there, and really, really great resources to so that you're legally able to work in a country. So instead of working at a Tim Hortons, you could go and serve coffee in England or Australia, or I know in Australia they do a lot of work in the harvesting season on the farms there. They hire a lot of gap students, as well as like concert season, if you want to work the concert circuit, where they are like putting up and tearing down stages at concert venues, things like that. I've heard a lot of gappers get jobs there as well. So lots of fun, different opportunities if you did want to work abroad. And it's a great way to make money, and a great way to just gain some really cool experience living in another country. So check out that link as well if that's something that interests you. All right, there we go. There's another way that you can make money on your gap year, and that's through the entrepreneurship or side hustle route. Now, I'm going to say that this can go really well. It can also go really poorly. So let's talk about it a little bit. So if you are thinking of being an entrepreneur, 100% your gap year is a great time to try it out. I will say, if you are also financially depending on your gap year to earn money, maybe entrepreneurship is not the best route to take. Lots of entrepreneurs on their gap year will be successful. They will get it up and off the ground, but it will take the first 7 or 8 months to turn a profit. So if you're thinking you're going to be making $100,000 in the first month, you're probably not going to quite get there. So my caution there is that if entrepreneurship is your primary income source, be very, very careful when you're doing it. If this is something you want to do to supplement your income, and earning money is a goal for you, then for sure, by all means, do this on top of the work that you are earning from somebody else who's paying you. So I think that's important just to know and keep that in the back of your mind, because there are some incredible resources that will help you with startup funding. They will help you in all of the processes to establish a business. Lots of really great incubators out there, and summer programs depending on where you live. Each province has some sort of summer program for youth entrepreneurs. So keep that in mind. But I will say that simple businesses can earn money. So think about things that are really well established and really relatively easy to come by. So childcare jobs, lawn maintenance, snow shoveling, all of those basic things that people need, they can make money really, really easily. And that would be a great way to be an entrepreneur and make money on relatively low risk. But if you want to be making and selling jewelry or photography or being like a repair person, those are a little bit more challenging to make a steady income from. So just be cautious if this is the way that you want to go for your gap year. Now, we're running out of time here, but I want to really, really make sure I hit this one home. So like I said at the beginning, if you are going to be working on your gap year, you have to have some other elements that are going to complement your work schedule. If you're just going to work 9 to 5 and then come home and jump on Netflix, you are not going to look back at your year with fond memories. You're not going to feel that you have grown as a person. While your bank account may have grown, you as a person will likely be pretty much the same as you were when you started your gap year, and that is not the end goal of this. So here are some suggestions of things that you can do alongside of working on your gap year. So number one, you can take courses, whether that is official courses for university through Athabasca University, get some of those credits out of the way, do that in the evenings, or if they're courses for fun that you want to take. Maybe you're interested in project management or learning a new world religion or learning how to code. Whatever those courses might be, it's a great way to keep your brain engaged over the course of your gap year. Join sports leagues. There's tons of really great ones out there. I know the Toronto Sport and Social Club I joined, and they had a team made up of all singles. So these are people who didn't join with a team of 10 people that they knew. They were just all randos that got put together, and we played different sports together, and it was a hoot. A great way to stay physically active, a great way to stay social, and knock on wood, COVID's going to be a thing of the past, so we'll be allowed to do these things again. But staying physically active in some ways, a great way to complement what's going on. And then go on trips, whether that's camping on weekends, a road trip with their friends on their Frosh Week, meeting up with other gap year students. Hopefully we're going to be able to do some in-person events next year, doing really, really cool little mini trips that don't cost a fortune. Lots of really, really fun things that you can do. Learn an instrument, learn a language, learn a useless skill, learn how to play the harmonica, whatever it is, pick up a new skill. Maybe you want to learn how to scuba dive, take some scuba diving lessons, whatever those things are that are going to give you something challenge, something to look back on and say, oh yeah, I learned how to do that on my gap year. That was really, really cool. You can start an art project. I know a lot of folks in the Gap Year Game Plan right now have been working on various art projects, some collaborative, some on their own. So the Gap community is always full of really amazing projects that you can get involved in, or you can do your own. Don't forget about volunteering and reading some books as well. So joining a book club or making a list of things that have always been on your list of books you wanted to read or documentaries that you wanted to watch. So tons of different things, tons of different ideas out there of things that you can check out. Just a quick plug here before I open it up for questions. Actually, there's a little bit of a delay. So if you have questions for me, pop them into the chat and I can help to answer those for you. But just a quick plug for you. We do have a year-long support called the Gap Year Game Plan. And I know Anandi is part of that this year, where Jazz and myself are here at your disposal, answering your questions, guiding you along the way, helping you with your resume, helping you track down jobs, looking at different opportunities, and helping you to recognize all of the skills and things that you are doing on your gap year and how they're going to translate to your future. So we would love to support you in that. So you can check that out at Game Plan, cangap.ca/game plan, if that is something that is of interest to you. So there you go. That is the end of the official presentation today. I do highly recommend that you head over to the expo that will be open for a little while afterwards. Specifically, I believe we left the booth in there for Starbucks. I believe I asked Jazz to leave it in there. If that's in there, go and check it out, because Starbucks has incredible employee benefits. So not only is it a social job, but you can transfer between Starbucks within the country. So if you were going to go and move to Vancouver for a little while, you could ask for a transfer to another store. They give they pay for part of your tuition if you work a certain number of hours a week, so you can actually offset the cost of your school. You get stock options. There are tons of training opportunities for you to move up within the organization. And I don't want you to think just being a barista the rest of your life, but in their marketing department or in their sales department as a franchisee, anything in business, anything in communication, anything in social media marketing. They have tons of training opportunities that will help you grow there. And so you can check out their booth. They've got a bunch of slides and some cool videos, but you can actually look. They have a link there that will take you to all of their hiring opportunities. And I know right now, they are in dire need of employees. So even if you're still in high school, or if you're on your gap year now looking for a job, definitely check out Starbucks. It's a great way to stay social, to get to know your local community. And they have lots of really, really great benefits for their employees. So you can check that out. I'm not seeing any questions coming into the chat, so let me know if there's anything that I did not cover that you would like me to chat through. Otherwise, we can just hang out here for a little bit, or you can head into the expo to check out all of those amazing booths and all of those amazing opportunities for your gap year. I hope this was helpful for you. I love chatting with people about the gap year options that are out there, and working is just one of the many things that you can do on your gap year, and lots of really great things there. Any specific recommendations for finding work online? Great question. I think it depends what you're looking for. A lot of the job postings that you'll see now will indicate whether it is a remote position or not. So it really depends what type of work you're looking for. A lot of customer service type jobs have gone online, and those are pretty low experience jobs. So they will provide you training, whether it's for the banks or for other smaller organizations or larger organizations. You can be part of their customer support help centers. That would be good things to look at. So a lot of the platforms are allowing you now to filter by remote work. So that's something that you can look at. And I know in the volunteer world, they're also posting lots of remote volunteer opportunities as well. So you can start there as well. So yeah, there's lots more opportunities now for remote positions and online work. I would say most of them are probably labeled as remote work opportunities, and you just want to make sure that you're matching with something that you are eligible for, because it kind of used to be the entry level jobs could be remote and the higher ups had to be in person, and now that is no longer a filter that we can really use. So I would say look at remote and then look at the qualifications and see what is a match for you. But again, if you're putting it out to your own networks, just write on there that I'm looking for a remote job or work from home. And be very specific about what you're looking for, and that should be able to help you out there. Awesome. Great. Any other questions that you guys have? Feel free to pop them in the chat. I'll hang out for another couple of minutes, or you guys can head over into the expo. It was my pleasure to hang out with you guys today. And if I can be of any support at all, you can feel free to CanGap.ca/call. You can jump in and book a chat with me, and I can help you a little more one-on-one and get you all set up for your gap year, whether it's more chat about work or about the other opportunities that are available to you. So you can check that out as well. I hope you have a wonderful Thursday, and we will chat soon. Have a good one.